Today I'm making a one-pan super easy and quick spaghetti. I'm also going to make homemade cornbread to go along with my delicious spaghetti dinner. Okay, so I am working with 1 pound of lean ground beef, 1 pound of spaghetti pasta, and a 24-ounce jar of marinara sauce, a bag of frozen green beans that were open. I need to cook that, and I'm going to start by making homemade cornbread. So in a large bowl, I'm going to add some self-rising yellow cornmeal. And I'm going to use the recipe on the back of this bag as a guide for this. And it calls for 1.5 cups of this self-rising yellow cornmeal. So I'm going to add that to my bowl. And for this dinner, I actually want sweet cornbread. You can skip on the extra sugar. The original recipe for this calls for 1/4 cup. I'm probably, at the end of everything, I'm going to add around 1/3 cup of sugar. I'm going to give that a mix. Essentially, I kind of add a little bit more later. It just depends on whether you want it sweet or not. So 2 large eggs going in. Here, I'm going to add a little more sugar. Again, I want this to kind of be sweet. 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, and now I'm going to add my buttermilk. You want to start with like a cup of buttermilk. I sort of eyeball and mix until it just comes together. By the way, I started mixing this, and as you can see, I'm mixing this. Everything's fine, but guess what? I forgot to add another dry ingredient. So I'm going to add 1 cup of all-purpose flour. You should probably add that with the dry cornmeal before you add the liquids. Okay, so just give that a mix. And I'm going to add some more buttermilk. Like I said, I sort of eyeball. Start with a cup, work your way up until you get a thick cornbread batter. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to use a buttered cast iron skillet. This is like an 8-inch cast iron skillet. And I'm just going to scrape in all of my cornbread batter. By the way, I used around 2 tablespoons of softened unsalted butter for this cast iron skillet. And I have my oven preheating to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to bake this for about 15-20 minutes or until it's cooked through in the center. Okay, so this is done. It's going into my preheated oven. Now for my meat sauce. In a large pan, I'm adding cooking oil and my ground beef. And I'm just going to start breaking apart this ground beef. Essentially, this is like one of the easiest, quickest homemade spaghetti dinners that I make. Sometimes the veggie changes, and sometimes I make cornbread or garlic bread, but this is it. Okay, teaspoon of beef bouillon powder going into my ground beef. You could just season with your favorite salt, pepper, other seasonings. I'm going with some cracked black pepper, some beef bouillon powder went into there. I'm also going to add some of this all-purpose seasoned salt blend. Paprika is going in here. And some granulated garlic powder and some dehydrated minced onion. You can chop some fresh onion. You really can bulk up this meat sauce and add fresh veggies into the mix. That's always great. Okay, so just break that apart and continue cooking the ground beef. And I'm just going to cook this over a medium to medium high heat until it browns like this. Okay, so now it's time to add my marinara sauce. I'm just going to pour in the jar right into the ground beef. And what I'm going to do is just give this a quick mix so it doesn't splatter. And I'm going to fill my jar up with water. Because remember, this is a 1-pot, 1-pan spaghetti, and I need extra water to cook the spaghetti. I'm going to cover with a lid and get any residual sauce that's left in the jar. Give it a mix and just pour right into the pan. And at this point, you want to give things a mix and just sort of pick up all of that fond at the bottom of the pan and mix everything together. I'm going to add a little more water, maybe an extra cup, some sugar, and some seasoned salt. Here I'm adding some more beef bouillon powder. I want to make sure that this is seasoned well because this is where I'm cooking the spaghetti. So give things a mix, give it a taste, adjust to your preference. So here I am mixing all the seasonings in. And you could do this into a pot. Some people break their pasta in half for it to fit, but this is a large pan. And once it starts to simmer like this, it's time to add the spaghetti. So I'm just sort of gonna put this in here in like a layer as best as I can. I'm probably going to drop some of this. And you're probably thinking, why are you doing this? And I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I don't want to get another pot of water dirty, and it's easy to make it this way. So let me just pick up my mess here. And you don't want the sauce and liquid to boil out of control because the pasta will get kind of goopy and not cook well. So you want to keep it at a constant simmer. So I'm just going to push in the spaghetti pasta into all of the liquid, make sure that it's submerged. And I might have to add another extra cup of water throughout the cooking process, but essentially let it gently simmer, and you want to stir it every now and again. Don't let it get kind of clumpy and lumped together because it is pasta, it'll get sticky. And this is going to take right at 15 minutes or so. It depends how done you want your pasta. So I'm just going to start cooking these frozen green beans. This is enough for 3 people. Some butter and some seasonings. Garlic powder, onion powder is going to go in, and I'm going to add a lemon pepper blend and just let that cook. It's as easy as that. Sometimes I do sweet peas or mixed vegetables. This is just something easy and quick. Okay, a little bit more water is going in. You can see how it's starting to soften and cook. I have it at just a constant simmer. It's not quite a boil, and you just let it cook until tender. Here's my cornbread. It smells amazing, looks amazing. It's so good. And be sure to check the description below because I will be putting ingredients and measurements for the spaghetti and the cornbread. At this point, my green beans are pretty much done. I'm going to give them a stir. I kind of like them to sizzle and saute, so I'm going to let some of that moisture kind of evaporate, and then they should be done. And now my spaghetti is done. Look at this. In my opinion, it's so easy and perfect. From the point that I added my spaghetti pasta into the sauce, it took about 15 minutes. But the cook time for the pasta varies because it depends on the doneness that you prefer. Taste it, check for salt and seasoning, adjust to your preference, and serve. I like to combine grated Parmesan cheese and crushed red pepper flakes and garnish the top of the spaghetti. My family really likes that. Sometimes fresh parsley works as well. And now I'm going to cut into this delicious golden brown sweet cornbread. And like I said, garlic bread and salad definitely worked for this, but this combination, my family loves it. So that's why I make it this way. But check this out. Perfectly cooked cornbread. So good. And this is dinner. So this was my quick and easy spaghetti dinner. So good. I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.